Good morning, interwebs. Matt Carter here with another Carter's Commentaries. I'm going to come with hopefully another inspiring message. I always want to be that light. Uh, Plenty of darkness in the world, and so if you see light, you know somewhere is illuminated. It's a safe space, and that's what I look to be is just draw folks to a place where they can feel comfortable. So today I wanted to hit something that came up yesterday in twofold. I taught a class, a small class to a group of first responders, and it dealt with mental health and dealing with the outward community as always. But always try to work in self-care and making sure we take care of us. And one of the big messages I try to give is resilience. In conjunction with some discussion that I had, Carrie and I were with some friends, and we had a nice discussion over supper, and these two ideas kind of merged. So this is what I hope to kind of bring together. So as I was sharing on resilience with the first responders in the class, one of the guys who's been in the business a long time and is open to the idea that we have a need to address mental health issues in our first responder world. But he asked, why don't we hear the messaging? Why don't we hear about this more often? And it kind of coincided with the message of resilience, in which I'm pretty certain he's heard from me before because he's been in other trainings with me. And he's also been present when I've done reach out. But he also was kind of referencing our, because I always share a resource list and where do we go if we need, because I'm not a clinician, and I always try to remind folks of that. I'm not a clinician, but I've walked the walk, and I don't want people to have to make that journey by themselves. And sometimes they just need an ear. So that peer idea is there, but he's asking, why don't we hear that messaging? And it kind of struck me. Said, I share this information regularly. And he said, well, I know I've seen it from you, but kind of a thing. And I was kind of struck. I said, well, sometimes the message has to be at the right time. So you have an idea, you have a message, but if someone's not ready to receive it, it can fall, even though it's well intended. So timing matters as much as the message itself, and that's a piece that I want to then carry forward into conversations of that Carrie and I had with some friends at supper later in the evening. And it was this idea of, I have a message and I'm sharing that message, but what if it's rejected? And it immediately took me back to what had taken place in the classroom 6-8 hours earlier in the day. And I said, so what if your ratio is 1-to-1, one person hears the message and one person that hears it doesn't need it, rejects it, doesn't care, you've spread the light 1-to-1. And you can't just look at, or I hope that you don't look at, that rejection is a rejection of the message. It may be rejection of the timing. The timing isn't right. I think for those of us that you go to church and you have that experience where you feel like the pastor or the message is right at you because it strikes. And that's more divine, I'd suggest, because you're hearing it based on scripture, and the Lord is using the pastor as a vehicle. But what is happening is your timing is right, and you feel like this is just, it's synchronous, it's perfect. I needed to hear that today. You understand how important timing can be to the message, and God doesn't just restrict his use of men and women walking the earth to those that have a pastorship. That's not it. I make those comparisons to be in the light because that's where my faith system is, and I recognize that everybody's in the same place or even making a faith walk. But by using the human experience and recognizing God can use my human experience and into someone's life, again, if I give a message out, and maybe I only get 10 views on this video, let's say, but 5 hear the message in a way that's meaningful and it benefits and it elevates them in a small way. Even if the other 5 reject, I've made an impact that is exponential. Something that was in my head that was helpful for me has now moved out of my head into an arena where 5 other people can make positive use out of that. Even if the other 5 have no use, they stop watching the video before it's over, they crap on it in comments and have negativity. I got 5 people that have made valuable use out of what was something that was in my head that brings a little light to their life. That's a plus. That's a gain, even with the negativity. So for this commentary, this message, it's okay if your message timing isn't right for someone that you interact with. The timing has to be right, and even if there's rejection because of what you think is driven by your message didn't have value, what in reality may be happening, you shining your light, they just weren't ready to see it. And here's the last analogy I'll give you for this message is, if we have a flashlight and we're outside during daylight, the light's really hard to see. Folks will wonder what the hell you're doing with a flashlight outside in the middle of the day, perhaps. But if you use that flashlight at nighttime, it's seen. It can be seen from further distances, and no one tends to question why you might be using the flashlight for the purposes of illumination. Now, they may wonder what the hell you're doing at night with a flashlight. Is he trying to break in? But the point is, your shining light is best seen by those in darkness. So even if you, in interacting, and the timing is wrong, meaning you're shining your light during the daylight and someone's not ready to see it, someone may not be able to see it, someone may not be able to understand why you'd have that flashlight. But for the person that's walking around in darkness, you shining that light can draw them to safety. Don't be afraid to give a message that has benefit just because you are interacting with someone who's not prepared to see that light. Shine that light because someone else may be in darkness and is going to be drawn to that light, that positivity that you're wanting to give them. Timing is everything. And you may not see it in the moment, but those seeds planted because you have a flashlight and someone isn't in the darkness, when they come to the darkness and they know that you have a flashlight, they may come back to you. Then their timing aligns with the message that you're trying to share. So spread that light. Even if it's daytime for somebody, spread that light, because when they hit the darkness, they remember you have the flashlight. You become a safe place. You're loved. You're cared for. If you haven't heard it today, I love you. The good Lord loves you. Be well, be safe, and thanks for watching.